Hey VC, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a good Friday. It's that time of the week again, time for another video. I've already got a decent amount of stuff I've gotten in, either from the mail or Doc's Records in Fort Worth, so figured I might as well do some recent finds. Also, later in this video I'll probably get into more of a discussion topic, but I'll get to that. Anyways, I actually ordered a couple of things from Amazon. I don't typically order too many records from Amazon, but lately they've had this this weird phenomenon where so many records are going even below like the $14-15 mark. So some of these were some good deals, and then they do their free shipping on orders of $25 or more. So you figured you might as well pick up a few things, save on shipping. So these are all, they were brand new records, nothing fancy here. First up, Arcade Fire's first album. They just came out with a brand new one a couple months ago, but I think their first two are the best. I've been wanting this one for a while, but I finally picked that up. And the new one, I'm not that big on. As I said, their first two or even three are probably their best for me. This one was like $11. Interpol's first album, Turn on the Bright Lights. Just a classic post-punk revival, early 2000s alternative album. Can't go wrong for 11 bucks for sure. And then Cocteau Twins, Heaven in Las Vegas, probably definitely one of their more popular albums. Again, this was like maybe 15 or 16 bucks. I'm all for supporting local stores and everything. As you'll see, I bought quite a few things from local stores, but you just can't beat Amazon prices sometimes. And on this album, they go more into their dream pop type of sound, which I'm a big fan of, like Slow Dive and My Bloody Valentine, that kind of thing. So that's a nice sound for them. I had this pre-ordered the new Always album. I forget the name of this one. Anti-Socialites is what it's called. This is you can see the sticker, the early bird version. Still haven't taken it out of the shrink wrap. I haven't decided whether or not I'll do that, but I have listened to it. It's it's Always. It's sort of surf rocky, not surf rock, but that kind of slightly garagey, a little dream poppy style of like West Coast rock. They're on Polyvinyl Records, by the way. They have a really nice summery kind of sound, and this is just as good, if not better than their first one, which I got recently also. Yeah, the early bird version, which I just showed, is is limited to 1500. It's on that cool blue. I think this is still available on the there's like an orange Starburst kind of color. You should pick that up if you are interested in that kind of thing. Now, I mentioned this in my previous video of something that I've been meaning to pick up, and I hear people talk a lot about the argument of like, do I buy like a lot of records, quantity, or do I buy a few records and have them be of higher quality? I think as I fill out my collection and I I get more of the quote-unquote essential albums, just filling out the stuff that I need, I can go back, and instead of buying a bunch of albums, I can just buy a few more expensive albums that I actually really want, some of the stuff that's really cool. That being said, I picked up the new, or not new, but it's a used copy of Father John Misty's I Love You Honey Bear. It's the deluxe version with the pop-up gatefold, which I don't know if I've ever seen this shown off before, so I might as well show it. Standard gatefold, but then it opens up like a pop-up book, and if you open it up all the way, it plays like one of those Hallmark cards, so I'll move it back. It just plays like the first few seconds of the first song. It's pretty cool. It's also on this special like colored vinyl. I'll just show one of the discs. They call it like that tri-colored, you know, I don't even know what kind of pattern you would call that, but it's this nice, one was blue, yellow, purple, as you can see. The other one's like pink, yellow, and some other color. I might as well pull it out. Pink, purple, and blue. Pretty nice. Double album, 45 RPM. This didn't come with the cassette that some of the copies came with, like demo tracks and stuff like that, but it does have both the inserts, and yeah, this was a pretty good deal. I've seen them go for more than I bought this for online. Not that it was like a steal or anything. I kind of had to pony up for it, but it is what it is, and I can get rid of my other copy and make a, you know, get some of that back at least. Happy to have this. This is probably one of the most expensive records I've ever bought, but it's kind of worth it in my opinion. Next up, I had to get the Twin Peaks soundtrack. If you don't know, Twin Peaks was is a like a I mean, it's hard to define really. In the broadest terms, I guess you could say it's just like a mystery, like a murder mystery, but it's got some supernatural elements to it. It's sort of like X-Files, and then it has, you know, the David Lynch mood about it, that kind of melancholy slash slightly bizarre feeling to the whole show. But anyways, this is the version that came out from Death Waltz Records in, I think, like 2015. There's also a European version from Rhino that was a little more expensive, but I ordered this from Mondo / Death Waltz. It's on this kind of coffee colored vinyl, which coffee is kind of big in the show, for one of the characters at least. And yeah, just pretty nice packaging overall. Nice kind of matte finish on the cover, and then it comes in this slipcase with a pattern relating to the show, which I guess I can't really spoil. So yeah, pretty cool. Nice soundtrack. It's the music itself, I would describe as it's a weird mix of like jazzy with some late 80s, early 90s kind of a little bit of like synthesizer slash maybe even a little post-punk of like the bass on the first track, but then some again with the dream pop type vocals on the tracks that do have vocals. I forget the lady that's sang on there. She had, you know, she did solo material, but she did a lot of collaboration with David Lynch, and she's a pretty nice voice. So yeah, cool show, cool soundtrack. Definitely one of the best TV show soundtracks I think there is. Yeah, well, that's all the new stuff I got. Aside from these last few, which I just got today, I took a trip out to Doc's Records in Fort Worth. It's a little bit of a drive, probably like a 25 to 30 minute drive from my house, but it's always worth it every time I go out there. Just a killer store. I think they're moving locations pretty soon. I think mileage wise it's slightly closer, but I think it's more of like downtown Fort Worth, so it would probably take the same amount of time, if not longer, to get there. But yeah, great selection in that store. Every time I go there I get at least one thing. This time I got a few things. Some of these were priced very well, so I had to pick them up. The first one being this Jimi Hendrix Experience Electric Ladyland. Pretty standard version of this, you know, just the kind of orange tan reprise labels. Nice shape aside from like the ringwear on the cover. Um, this was only $8 there. They don't always have crazy deals like that, but when they do, it's usually pretty good. And then I've been meaning to get a copy of this for a while. Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road." I think this was like $10, which is about what I used to see them for. I used to see them all the time, you know, half-price books for like anywhere from $5 to like $8. But nowadays I never really see it, and definitely not in as clean a shape as this. So $10, had to get it. I've been needing this one for a while too. It's David Boies' "Let's Dance." As far as his 80s albums go, I think this is like the second best. You know, I need a copy of "Scary Monsters," but he has, at least in the early 80s, a good kind of new wave kind of sound. And of course, this album's famous for Nile Rodgers playing guitar on at least the title track. Cover's not in the greatest shape on this one, but can always upgrade it as I find them, which has been harder and harder to do lately. It's got a little wear on the spine, which is, if you know me, that's like my pet peeve with album conditions. But the record's nice, pretty standard US version of that. On the more punk side of things, Patti Smith group, Radio Ethiopia. This was, again, like $8. I think the half-price books pretty much next door to me had this for like 15, and definitely not as nice a shape, so I saw this there, I had to pick it up. I love all of, or most of Patti Smith's music through the 70s and early 80s. I believe this is like her second album. It's 76. I think Horses was like 75, so yeah, this is like right after that. But I haven't spun this one yet, but I'm looking forward to hearing it. On vinyl, I've heard a couple of these tracks before. Obviously the title track, it's pretty cool. These last two records, like this one and the next one I showed, they bring up the topic I was going to talk about. I guess I'll show this one before I get into that. This is The Cure, "Head on the Door," famous for "In Between Days," the first song, and probably Kyoto song also, the second one. But they just had this in the not in the new Arrivals, but just the A to Z Cure section that they had. You know, like I said, they have some cool stuff in that store. That's the one store I go to find any kind of like punk, alternative, new wave, that sort of thing. Because no other store near me has anything like that usually, unless I get lucky at like a half-price books or something, or maybe Josie Records will have some of that kind of thing. But that kind of gets me into my topic I wanted to talk about real quick, where it's about like shifting like focus when you're collecting something. Obviously, I mentioned getting higher quality stuff, or quality over quantity, but also that kind of, for me at least, it moves between like genres, where for a couple months here I've been focusing more on psychedelic, mostly late 60s, mid to late 60s to some early 70s, art rock, psychedelic, that kind of thing. And I filled out my collection pretty nicely with that. I think I've got a lot of the essentials, at least the stuff that I can get for a decent price. You know, it's not fun necessarily to spend like, you know, more than $50 on a record, but sometimes it can be worth it if you really love the music. And I think as far as like psych goes, I've got all the stuff that I actually really love. And so I've kind of lately been meaning to shift my focus away from that and more into just like classic 70s, like original punk stuff, you know, like obviously The Cure is on the new wave side of like the mid to late 80s, and even that Cure album goes more into the pop side of things than some of their earlier stuff. But the Patti Smith is cool, kind of in the vein of stuff I'm looking for, that early new wave, and then the classic punk, which again, back to the quality side of things, you don't usually find that kind of thing around me, and if you do, it's not for like a steal of a deal or anything. So it's gonna be probably, if it goes according to plan, I'll be picking up some more quality like punk stuff, and maybe fewer of them. But as of right now, that's kind of my shifting focus for collecting. Um, I've seen some people talk about that, just kind of, they go through cycles of stuff that they're interested in, versus stuff that's fun to collect, and then the struggle between collecting and actually buying records that you'll listen to all the time. And I've been kind of getting back into a punk kind of state of mind with music, not entirely. And some of the more hardcore stuff I'm not that big on. Maybe like a little bit of Black Flag is about as hardcore as I'll get. But yeah, some of just like the classic punk, more in the vein of like, I have Televisions first, I need to get their second. I need some Dead Kennedys, I need the Sex Pistols, the Ramones. I would like to have some original Ramones stuff. Again, you'll usually have to pay up for that kind of thing. You're not gonna find them for like $5. But hopefully I can get most of that stuff for less than like 25 or 30. So yeah. Anyway, guys, wish me luck with that. Thanks for watching through this. Let me know if you guys have some kind of input on kind of shifting focuses with genres and the stuff you want to get on vinyl. I appreciate all the subscribers and the viewers, of course. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a good week. I'll see you guys next Friday, hopefully. I need to think of some more video topics to think of besides like recent finds. So yeah, anyways, thanks again. Have a good one.